Good afternoon and welcome to Industry Chats by Affixify. I am Jasmine Saliga, the founder of Affixify and your host today. And I am very excited to invite and introduce, rather, my friend and Affixify mentor, Gregg Hopkins of Get Hoppy Consulting. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Jasmine, how are you?
I'm good. I am. We were just talking about the post high tech crash, and trying to get out of the fog. So I think I'm better today. How about you?
I'm getting there. Every day's a little bit better. The high tech take it out of you. I mean, you look at your step count from the day, and you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, what a workout!
We, so I've never tracked steps. I just haven't. But Stephanie does, and she looked at my phone for me, and it said like almost 13,000 steps the first
Crazy.
day, and it said 5.5 miles, and I'm like, is that right? So it's insane,
It's
you
crazy.
know. Greg, tell us. So, I mean, I feel like our audience definitely knows Gregg Hopkins, but tell us more about you, specifically what Get Hoppy does, because honestly, I've learned so much about all of your advisory services. There's so many things that you can help people with. And then we'll jump into today's topic, which is a really cool topic that we've never talked about on this show. But tell us a little bit about you first.
Well, I'll tell you about Get Hoppy. Get Hoppy is primarily a technology consulting firm for hotels and restaurants and clubs. We primarily work with independent hotels and restaurants, as well as small hotel groups. That's the focus is where it lives, and we have worked with some brands. So basically, our approach it's pretty simple. It we initially go in and we assess what you have. We try to understand where your successes are. We understand where your struggles are. We will then work to mitigate those struggles with your existing vendors, and also go through and identify what's working and what may just need to be upgraded in order to make it better, or something solved to make it better. Right? We'll identify which systems are in the tech stack that are legacy and probably need to be replaced, and give you an urgency of that. And then we'll also give you advisory on systems that may be missing, that may give you operational efficiencies or labor efficiencies or financial savings by going with that. From there, we typically will go on into a procurement process. So we'll work and work with you to work with the property to determine which vendors they want to partner with and where they want to do. We are a little bit different because we will then do general contracting on those.
Mm,
Get one bill from Get Hoppy for all your technology that you're looking at. We will do the project manage the implementation of the project
okay.
as it goes on, and in some cases we stick around even longer. We're doing first line support for
Mm.
for to help mitigate or to help triage what the problem might be. So full service technology consulting firm, and I still spend a little bit of my time working with organizations and helping them with strategic frameworks or marketing initiatives or go to market. And I love working with startups. This is where I first met you, and I do that. I do all that on a pro bono basis because I want to share my startups in the problems I made, so you don't have to experience them all over again. And when we work with that, so I stay pretty busy doing. I mean, that's all we do.
Yeah. So my lovely recording studio has kicked me out twice, everybody. I'm so sorry. I've not had this happen, but thankfully it's with you, Greg, because you're going to be my more understanding guest. I have not sure what's going on with StreamYard today, but what I can say and what I was thinking when you were sharing all of this, you and I were standing in the hallway outside of the exhibit hall at High Tech, and a friend of mine, actually it's a user of Affixify, he is a hotel owner and he walked by and I just introduced you guys, right? Introducing friends. And his immediate, like, he perked up because you told him what you do. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, that's what we need. And it was really cool to see that in real time because we get the connections through our platform. But like his response to you telling him how you could help him was so awesome to see in person.
Oh, thank you. It's so much fun to have those experiences too. I mean, probably most of my business comes from referrals from folks like you and other people that I met. And it's good to see what you're doing resonates with the industry and what they're trying to, and what their needs are, and being a good fit to help those sort of organizations to have good experience and a lot of good contacts in the industry that can help them make good long-term technology decisions with what they're trying to accomplish. So yeah, exchanges like that are awesome. You walk up, Jasmine, meet my friend, and he says, "Wait, what do you do?" And you see him light up too, and you're going, "Well, this is kind of cool."
I know.
This
Yeah.
And then
so fun to
he
see.
starts grabbing other people. Hey, I want to introduce you to, so it's kind of fun when that happens.
That's why I love high tech, and really any, events, but high tech is just like the ultimate in connecting.
It's like a high school reunion, but you have it every year, is what it's
every
like.
year. I know I read like prom, it's like the prom of high tech or of hospitality, all of these things. So yes, I loved it. I can't wait for San Antonio, which, it'll be in our home state next year of Texas. So, but let's dive in. Given that my StreamYard does not keep disliking me today, Gregg, I've been really excited when I saw the topic that you were going to bring to the table, because I think that, we work with consultants. There's so many out there. I think what you are bringing up is a really important topic for our industry. And it's, why hotel technology consulting, or really just any hotel consulting, I shouldn't just say technology, is prime for change. Where are we at today? Tech has evolved. Has consulting caught up? So I have a lot of questions for you. And if we have audience listening, as you know, if you watch us weekly, we take your questions as well. But I wanted to start with just the basics. So we have our guests on this show come up with their educational topic. This is yours. Tell me what you think about traditional hospitality tech consulting and why it might be falling short right now for today's landscape of hoteliers.
Well, I think primarily the consulting experience is broken. So what's going on is that if you think about through the technology project, there's usually three phases that are involved with that. There's the RFP process, in which you figure out what all your requirements are. Then there's the implementation process, in which the vendor will come and teach you how to use their software. And then there's the post go live support that goes on. So from a vendor perspective, you're usually dealing with three different people or three different parts of the organization as you go through. You're dealing with sales, you're dealing with implementation, then you're dealing with support. Now, typically what happens in a consulting engagement, for the most that I've seen, okay, is that your technology consultant will help you up through technology selection. And then it's kind of like, okay, you're in good hands. I'll see you later. So what happens is that this happens with or without a consultant. Okay. So you go through the sales process and you're dealing with the salesperson, and you're going through and you're telling them what all your problems are, and you're helping you going to solve, and you get this great plan. And then implementation comes. So there's a lot of subject matter expertise that gets lost in that first phase, right? Because you got brand new people. They don't know the history. They don't know what you've been through. You're making brand new contacts. And then the implementations to the vendor's support, their job is to teach you how to use their software. That's their primary purpose. They don't care about other initiatives that you're working on during that time, or other systems that you really need to connect to, and why you're connecting to it, and why you're making this change. Their job is to teach the users how to use the software. So there's no real strategic part that goes into that. Then they're done, and you get turned over to a support organization. So it's your third level of contact. And again, they don't know what your plans are. They don't understand what you're trying to achieve. They understand it was implemented and hopefully it was done properly. That you're always going to have a punch list of items that need to be fixed. So you're dealing with three different people. I think, and I practice, that I am there from start to finish, or as they say sometimes, from cradle to grave on the project. So as you have a consistent point of contact where you are truly being the project manager for the project, not just the system implementation of what's going on. So you're hurting interface vendors, you're hurting training
Right.
from a vendor side and from an employee side to make sure they're there. You're understanding what the operating procedures are in order to get support properly and to understand what's going on. So that's is materially broken in our, I think, in our approach to what's being done. Where it's, if you're looking
Yeah.
for someone to help you with your RFP, hey, that's great, right?
Yeah.
And then they're gone. But who's going to help you get the thing implemented? Who's going to be there after it's done to help you make sure it's optimized and you're achieving those goals that you set out to do in the front? So
Yeah.
I try to address that with Get Hoppy, and we've had some pretty good success with it.
It sounds like more of a 360 model.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, if you don't stay involved, I think I lost you
Yeah.
again, Jess. If you don't stay involved from the beginning to end, you're gonna that's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for your patience, guys. So, and
Forward.
I think we're at 27 LinkedIn lives now. This has never happened. So, Greg, I sincerely apologize, but you, like I said, you're the perfect person to deal with my whatever's happening over here. So I do have a question. You're big on problem solution, which I love. So, what is the remedy for this? How would you rebuild this model? And you are doing it. So I think you're the one it's coming in. But if you were to be in front of a room of consultants right now, how would you recommend that they start rebuilding this model from scratch? Like, what does that look like?
I think they just got to rethink their delivery and what their services encompass. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where it starts. I mean, technology is helping, right? I mean, like the Affixify platform is a great place for it to go out and say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. These are some vendors that I need, and to go as far and saying, hey, you may need help with this because you all got day jobs, so you may need to bring in a consultant to
Yeah.
help you. We can line you up with consultants that are going to be able to help you best. I think that's awesome, but the
Mm,
consultant's got to be more than just a purchasing manager, for lack of a better term. They've got to
right.
be someone that can understand what the problems are. They got to understand how to go through the RFP process. They got to understand how to negotiate the contract. They got to have project management skills so they know how to deliver an efficient implementation. And then they've got to back to the point of understanding the what the problem was in the first. They got to understand how to support it and what that support organization needs to look like. I mean, asking an end user to understand why the point of sale interface isn't posting to the PMS is hard for a normal person at the front desk to work with. So instead, they should be able to call, like when they call us, they'll triage that, and we'll figure out, okay, is the problem with the POS vendor? Is the problem with the PMS vendor? Did someone change a port in the network, which is why this thing's not communicating anymore? But having that first of all holistic report so we can get the experts together and triage that information is really important to
Yeah.
understand, especially the market ideal. And I mean, some organizations have those people in their group, big management companies, they have that support, but independents and small hotel groups don't have that level in there.
Yeah.
Something we're looking to provide and be more than just a technology consulting firm, but being more of a technology partner and to be able to work with that. And if you need on-site support, then we'll partner with MSPs to help you with your hardware and your other system support where they're going on there and manage those for you also along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think what you're saying is so important. What I also love about what you're saying, because you and I have been talking since last fall about some of your visions on consulting. And I think you're looking to also help the industry. So not just like what can Get Hoppy do to
Yeah.
make this better, but what can others do? And do you think there's any outdated mindsets that are like either keeping hoteliers going to the same type of consultant that maybe aren't taking this holistic approach, or reasons consultants aren't changing the way it's always been done, which is definitely the enemy of change, right? It's always been done this way. Like, what are the outdated mindsets that you're observing?
One is that you can't partner with another consultant to help a success. So if there's, I mean, every consultant has their subject matter expertise. So and because you're a trusted advisor, which is different than a technology consultant, they may
Yeah.
approach you, but you have to be open enough as an advisor to say, okay, I'm going to need some help with this. I'm a like for an enterprise accounting system, I'm not your best guy to call. I understand how all that works, but I know a lot of great consultants out there that could help out with understanding how to implement a workforce management solution, and because they've done it before, and they can serve as that project expert in there and be able to and be able to work with them. And whether if they want us, and like, if they want us, if the customer wants to see it on one piece of paper, I'm more than happy to put it on my paper, and
Right.
I'm more than happy to live on someone else's paper to help them if they're looking for how do I align my guest journey with the technology, which is kind of where I really have, or CRMs and what's working with that. So the other thing is that there's a lot of consultants in our
Right.
that aren't consultants. They're in between.
Mm.
So they're doing this as a go between this their last gig.
Career change. Yeah.
So they slap the consultant thing on there, and once they get a new job, they're gone. So there are true consultants out there, and I've been doing this for 10 years now. So there's where I left my corporate career and said I wanted to be a consultant, and I've loved it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys out there that are in between. So you need to look for things like without asking them, are you really a consultant? Or are you just doing this as a hobby along the way? Is, look and see, are they organized? Are they organized in the state? Do they have general liabilities insurance? Do they have workers' compensation insurance? Those are things that kind of give credibility to that they've taken the time to set themselves as a true consultancy and as a true firm. So that's like a red flag you look for as they go and look for the type of consultant, and making sure the guy, and determining whether this advisor that you're working with, which are great to have also, to be able to work with that, because not everyone has CTOs or CIOs.
Right. Yeah.
They have guys who can fix things, but they may not have the vision to build a true enterprise of a solution that's going to make, as I like to say, I like to make technology brilliantly boring, right? I want to make it so it's
I love it.
Like the light switch, that it always works, it's always consistent, it does what it's supposed to do. You don't have to spend your time or days working about that, and that's always our goal in order to make that happen. So does someone have the credibility and the experience to make that happen?
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. And do you ever notice, like, do hoteliers ever come to you? I know we do the RFP for technology, but with an RFP of their own for consulting work, or how do you notice those engagements happen? Because what you're telling me is, I'm thinking they almost need their own checklist of things to make sure, because it has to go beyond.
I don't know if I call an RFP. I feel like I'm going through questionnaires sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they're kind of interviewing me and saying, well, where have you done this before? Do you have references? And what are your goals? And I said, well, I don't have goals. My goal is to make your goals.
Your goal.
your goal, right? But they'll go through that, and they want to understand what your approach is, and that you're transparent with what you're doing. The other thing to look for, which every person should ask any consultant that they're talking to, is, are you taking money from any vendors for your selection? Are you taking a referral fee? And that's fine if they do that. They just need to disclose it. I mean, if you got a consultant that's taking money from a PMS vendor for a referral fee, then don't you think it's going to influence their decision at all? I mean, it has to, right? So if you're going to get, hey, I'm going to get 10% from this guy, but if I recommend this guy, I'm getting 0%. I mean, why? So, I mean, I take money from no other, unless you're paying me for strategic reasons and not for consulting reasons.
For your work, right?
I won't. I don't take any referral fees. I'll tell them that if you're going to give me a referral fee, pass it on to my customer. Don't pay me. Just
give them a discount. Well, actually, that's why Affixify exists in the first place, as you know, because I found it really interesting that we have people recommending software. How do you guarantee it?
Yeah, you don't. I mean, you've got to, like I said, it's a bigger problem than people understand. And I didn't realize how prevalent it was until I started consulting 10 years ago, when I saw that. And I see it now. I mean, you'll have vendors come to you now and says, hey, if you sell this deal for me, I'm not a sales agent. I mean,
yeah,
if you recommend us, we'll give you a percentage. And I don't want that, because And you know, as a result, a good advisor or a good consultant should be like a net zero proposition for you, because the money they can save you in either labor or operational or just in negotiating the deal should more than pay what the
Yeah.
consultant are.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, and just with labor shortages, there's just such a need for experts to come in. I think it's a no-brainer, and we are seeing that's why we started partnering with consultants like you, because there's a need. I would be sitting on calls just explaining Affixify to a hotelier, and they're asking me like, "Well, what do you think I should do here and here?" And I'm like, "That's like truly not my. I can't help you, right?" And I wanted to be upfront, like, I don't even have experience in all of these areas. My whole vision is to, have this platform. And that's exactly why we brought you guys in, because it started to become very clear to me like, wow, consultants are a must have in so many situations. And I mean, I'm talking about we work with small groups all the way up to, a couple medium brands, and all in there. I can tell you multiple times where I've identified like you need a consultant. I
Yeah.
just sent someone an email yesterday, the person that you met, right? Just reminding them that they met you. And I think it's such a need, and what you're saying is so valuable.
And they all have day jobs, right? So they all have the need. You know, they don't have time to understand how all this works, and they don't have time to do the research and keep up to date with the various vendors on what they're using and or what their roadmap is and what they're for. I mean, so it's yeah, that's where consultants really come into play, because most folks have day jobs that aren't focused on hospitality and travel technology.
Yeah.
They're busy running their hotel or their restaurant or their club, so they
Mhm.
need that level to come in on a interim basis in order to
Yeah.
help them get through that point, and then they go back to running, get back, and then like I said, if they want to keep the engagement going, that's great, because we can help them in areas that they
Mhm.
typically don't have and where they get the frustrations. But it's consultants aren't necessarily. But I've worked with big brands because they've asked me to come in and give them a fresh set of eyes on something. So
Sure.
in that way,
Yeah.
that's great. But they have that expertise on how to deploy that. In most cases, you do the assessment, you write your report, and you're done, because they know
Yeah.
how to do the procurement, they know how to do the implementation, and
Right.
that's fine. And then, but there's other groups that they don't have that level in there. So the smaller hotel groups may or may not have that level
Yeah.
of experience, and then the independent hotels rarely have that true level of what's
Yeah.
there to understand what's going on. Most of them, most of them are responsible for keeping the systems running. They're not
Yeah.
responsible for looking to say, are we doing this the most efficient way? And hey,
Yeah.
we're taking a half an hour per guest to do research on them for the pre-arrival. And you say, well, through automation, you can do it in like, and with AI, you can do it in like 30 seconds, because the system will go out or less than that, the system will go out and tell you who your most valuable guests coming in are. So there's ways you can find ways, or if you had more people use the mobile check-in capability, you don't need as many people at your front desk. So there's ways to implement those technologies to make it more efficient, and to have the technology support the guest journey
Mm.
that the organization is trying to achieve. And they're all a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
fortunately for our business, hotels don't run the same. From brand to brand, to resort, they don't.
This is so true.
Even
Yeah.
though there are books on it, oddly enough, but they're all a little bit different, and they all have a little bit different needs, and all have a little bit different spin. So we're a little bit of like what you're doing with Affixify. We're kind of like a matchmaker. I mean, we're
Yeah.
doing the right things together, but we have real time experience and real time relationships to be able to
Mm.
transfer the general information of what you're looking for to where you want to be. So
Yeah.
that's what's great about your platform. You could have a chain come in and say, okay, I'm just keeping up to date on what's there.
We did. Yeah.
I need, but what do I do once what do I do once I have it, right?
All the time. Well, I wouldn't say all the time, more frequently now than we ever have before. And what I would love to know, Greg, so kind of, and again, thank you for your patience with my whatever's happening over here. But before I cut out again, tell us for our audience, and of course, this will go on YouTube, and hopefully we can do maybe a part 2 of this, because I think there's a lot to dive into. If someone was hearing you today and whether they want to talk more about better consulting practice or they need help, where can they best get in touch with you? Is it LinkedIn? Is it email? Where can they find Gregg?
I try to be wherever I can. You can go to Affixify and try to match with
Yeah,
me.
you can.
If that's not successful, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Gregg with 3G Hopkins there. You can go to my website, which is gregghopkins.com, or you can email me at gregghopkins.com and get a hold of me anytime. And I love to have those initial conversations and to explore how we can help each other and to kind of go from there. Or even, I mean, I'm even open to, and I get these sometimes where they just got a quick question and they just want to talk to an expert and say, "Hey, have you?" And you know, like, and I actually have a spot on my website where you can book a quick chat. You know, do a 15-minute. Hey, I'm wondering what you think about this, and be able to help someone out with that. And I'll do those. I'll do those all day long.
Yep. All right. Well, this is
maybe
I
maybe I should come to Fort Worth and give you some technology consulting.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I promise that I promise. This is a first. So I guarantee everybody Gregg will be back when I can figure out what in the world is going on with my own technology. But Gregg, thank you regardless for joining me today, because you do have so much to offer our industry. I've been so grateful for your guidance for us as a startup, or now you're saying we're not a startup anymore, but whatever we are.
You're an emerging company now. You're no longer.
Yes, I like it. I like it. But we're so grateful. And for our audience, you can reach out to Gregg via LinkedIn or email. And I will be back next Wednesday with my dear friend Lavelle Casiero from PM Hotel Group, author and speaker. And Gregg, thank you so much for joining me. We will see everybody next week.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jasmine.
Bye bye.